five-time All-Star Marques Johnson.
Alongside Marques Johnson.
What's up, everybody? Hey, this is the Here District, captain of this vessel. And I got my first mate, my number one son, Khris Johnson.
What up? Talk to me.
Holla!
Let it rain, man. Let it rain.
I guess what? We're going back into the Friday.
Can't pass us all the breakfast.
Can't pass
Go fight.
Welcome, everybody, to the Here District, Marques Johnson.
You're listening to a Bucks Plus audio production on the Bucks Plus Network.
Your weekly pulse on the Milwaukee Bucks, straight from a Bucks legend. This is Here District with Marques Johnson, alongside his son and 1995 NCAA champion, Khris. Here's MJ.
All right, welcome to Here District, the fantastic voyage as we follow the exploits of the Milwaukee Bucks. I'm the captain of this vessel, Marques Johnson. My son, Khris, is my first mate, holding it down.
What's happening?
And we have a cult hero in the city of Milwaukee. They whenever they want to get the crowd juiced up, they fly this guy in town. They put him courtside.
Yes, sir.
And just let him go to work. And the fans love him, and we love him. And this is actually his second time on the show. And Brad, we thank him for joining us once again. Brandon Jennings. Brandon, welcome to the Here District, man.
Nah, man, thank you, man. Thank you guys for having me.
Yeah, we appreciate you coming back.
Love
And
all
so-
the people here.
Yes,
yeah.
sir.
So listen, we're all LA guys here, and there's a term that transcends time, space, energy, eras. This term, soft. It's been around forever, and it kind of denotes, I don't know, what does it mean? Well, first of all, let's just Brandon, what does that mean to you? Just when you say someone is soft, what does that mean? Without getting specific with names, we'll get to that later. But just that overall term, soft, what does that mean?
Kind of like nonchalant a little bit. I mean, you can still be great at what you do. It's just more of like, kind of don't care too much, or it's not as aggressive.
Not as aggressive. Khris, soft?
Well, soft for me would be in a sense of a weakness mentally, where you don't like the physical part of the game. When the game gets tight, you don't have the intestinal fortitude to, knock down the shots and make the plays to help your team win. In the basketball context, that's kind of in that wheelhouse of stuff for me is what it means.
Okay, so I'm going to set this up. I'm going to recite a little thing that I wrote a long time ago. Then I'm going to give you some background on it. Then I'm going to ask you a question about it.
Okay.
So it's out of my hands. No control, no say. Acquiesce to someone's demands. It's out of my hands. Rule of thumb is to act real dumb and pretend there's nothing wrong. But if your senses are real and your mind's intact, it's kind of hard to go along. It's out of my hands. You acquiesce to someone's demand. You play the game, you perform the role, and then you try real hard not to console yourself too long after you're through. Because it's not really a test of a man, but only when the scale is grand, you find who's really who. See, it's out of my hands. Now, I'm playing against Larry Bird. I'm playing him physical, bumping him, denying him. He's getting all pissed off about it. He's complaining. He turns to the referee, Jess Kersey, this redhead ref back in the early 80s, and says, "Get him off me, Red. Get him off me." Now, Jess Kersey, the referee, Brandon, Khris, he calls 2 fouls on me in a matter of a minute. Just think. I go to the bench. All right, I'm so soft, frustrated, just like, and this is like kind of before Larry Bird was really Larry Bird, but it just, so I'm thinking racism and all these other things. How can they let this guy dictate who can stay on the floor? So I go back to my room and I write this poem. It's out of my hands. No control, no say. It's out of my hands. Who was soft in that instance? Larry Bird for complaining, or me for going back to my room and writing a poem about it? and exercising my creative outlet.
I'll let Brandon answer that.
Who would be soft in that instance, Brandon? And be real with me. I'm just curious.
I mean, I'm not writing no song.
Okay.
Oh,
I mean, he uses it as a tactic. Hey, get him off me, Red. I'm trying to
Get him
win.
off me, Red. Get him off me.
that's the only way.
Yeah, Khris.
Hey, man, come on, man. You were soft, dog. I mean, that's ridiculous. I mean,
Go
come
back
on,
to-
man. No,
to-
just keeping it
to-
100. Just keeping it 100. To go home and write a poem about that. Like, I understand you're a creator, and I understand you got those creative juices, those creative genes, but in that particular instance, Larry Bird is just using the tools that he has in front of him, which is the referee, right, to get you off of him, get you out the game. You did not use no tools. You didn't say nothing. You didn't do nothing. You went home and wrote about this
Well, understand the context
out of
at
my
the time.
hands, like you back in the 70s, like, you know
It
what I'm
was out of
saying?
my no, it's out of my it's in the 80s. It's in the early 80s. It's out of my hands.
You got that
You know,
rhythm, though. You
but
got
my-
that
but-
flow.
but- but the point of the point of the poem was like it was a way for me to decompress. See,
Okay.
a way for me to not get so caught up and wound up in the resentment and the bitterness and the anger that I do something crazy.
Okay.
So I just needed a creative outlet just to get that out of me. And the final line of the poem is only when the scale is grand. So like, don't get caught up in all this bull crap. Don't let this get me off my square, as you would say nowadays. So that was the point of going to write about it. But
Did you say it publicly?
huh? No,
That's
no,
great.
and I think I finally shared it. This is back in the early '80s. I may have shared it like 5 years ago for the first time, but I just kept it to myself. It was just straight for me, just as a way to vent. I wasn't trying.
Now you gotta write that, share that the next day. Let them know.
Go to
Yeah,
the
it was a
media.
different day. It was a different era. It was a different era. You know, it's a different era. Today that would be right on point. Now, to segue from that into we talking soft, we talking Celtics. Brandon, you've been in the news a lot lately. Different social media
mad.
have been used. You made a comment about Jayson Tatum, and you said that he was the softest Celtic superstar in history,
Yeah.
or something to that effect.
Yeah.
And so now, give us some context. Why'd you say that when you said it? What did you mean exactly when you said it? Do you still stand by it? More importantly,
Yeah, I definitely stand by it. Like I said before, May and June is coming. And I think the overall picture of everything I'm saying is just the fact that Jaylen Brown has a Finals MVP and a MVP of the playoffs. So that's where the context came from. And I'm gonna just wait till May and June.
so you're saying when you bring up Jaylen Brown, Finals MVP last year, dominant player. A lot of people out here. My good buddy Lorenzo Romar, his brother, who has a little column he writes for Facebook. We've been going back and forth. Chris doesn't like me to give him any kind of recognition at all, but he says that he's the best player of the two between Jayson Tatum and Jaylen Brown. Now, what do you guys feel about that? Can you really make that can you discern who's better? Or are they so even that it's hard to say who's better? Or do you have an opinion on that?
I just feel like, when you say the best, like when Shaq was winning those rings with Kobe, it was very, obvious who was the greatest, who was the best player. When
Right.
KD went to the Warriors, it was very obvious who was the best player. When LeBron James is going to the finals, it just is very obvious who is the best player. So just in this situation, I really don't know who's the best player. And granted, because one has everything that, to be the best player on the team, that's what you want. Is that Finals MVP, and as Giannis would say, whoever wins the Finals MVP is the best player in the league. So that also came from another NBA player.
Right.
Okay. Now what I would combat with that, we're talking Celtics again. So early '80s, I think '81 or so. Celtics win the championship, beat the Houston Rockets in the finals, and Larry Bird had a really great final series. But there was a teammate of his by the name of Cedric Cornbread Maxwell.
They talked about y'all talked about it on the show.
Did they?
They talked about Maxwell.
He was Finals MVP of that one series. Andre Iguodala was a Finals MVP with Golden State of that one series. I mean, that's where I get. That's where I come with it, because Jayson Tatum. I mean, you just from sheer numbers, and I know we don't like to measure players completely on sheer numbers, but sometimes, I mean, that's a pretty solid barometer. But it's also an appreciation at his age, 26, 27 years old, whatever he's done. But he's got career averages, man, where he's been just the amount of consistency, putting up 25, 26, 27 points a game, and his field goal percentage, and 3-point percentage has gone up, and all those good numbers. I don't know. I guess what I'm trying to say
when Bird lost that Finals MVP, did he already have a MVP of the NBA?
I don't think so. That's a good question. I don't think I don't think he had won one yet. I think that didn't happen until
Because he won 3 in a row, right?
He won 3 in a row, but I thought that was more mid-'80s. We'd have to Motos can check that stat out, but I don't think it was early as 1981 because see, this is what happened. Bird came in the league in
79, right?
1980.
Yeah.
I was first team All-Pro, Brandon,
Okay.
1979, when the players voted, okay? Going into that season, going into Bird's rookie year, like the league was, 99% black, cocaine abuse, all this going on. They needed like that they needed something. They needed that white superstar, great white hope, they called it back in those days. The Bucks drafted one in Kent Benson. Same year I got drafted 3, he got drafted 1. Didn't pan out, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, so Bird was first team All-Pro, 1980. His rookie year, one of the few rookies to be first team All-Pro. I had been first team All-Pro the year before when the players voted.
Yeah.
They took the vote out of the players' hands, Bird's rookie year, and gave it to the media.
That's cold, bro.
My coach, Don Nelson, who was a former Boston Celtic,
Voted for Bird.
came to me and said, instead of averaging 26 points a game like you did your second year when you was first team All-Pro, give me 20 points a game. And so I averaged 20, 21 points a game. Got bumped off the first team All-Pro by Larry Bird on a vote based by the media. So I don't think at that point, Larry would be the first to admit, when we got chosen for the All-Star game as a rookie that year, or early in his career in Cleveland or somewhere, he said even then that he wasn't one of the best forwards in the league. He was just happy that he was acknowledged as an All-Star, blah, blah, blah. But that year that he made first team All-Pro, I got bumped off first team from the year before. And Adrian Dantley averaged 28 points a game, y'all, and didn't make an All-Pro team as a forward, as a small forward. So it's a different era. So my point is this. Let's get back to Jayson Tatum. And it actually spilled over into his skill development guy, Drew Hammond.
Yeah.
Have you and Drew been going back and forth?
What's up with that?
What's the nature of this beef that's going on?
Nah, hey, so what's crazy? Like, so like on the show on Gil's Arena, a lot of our takes, like some of them don't go like viral until like maybe 2 weeks or 3 weeks later. So the whole Jason thing is yeah. So like when we had said it like maybe like 2 weeks or 3 weeks ago before the new year. So we kind of like, I kind of forgot all about it. So then when the Drew thing came up, it just came out of nowhere, and I was just like, all right, like, so I just played into it a little bit. I gave it a moment. But it's nothing like that. I mean, it's nothing like that though. This is just all hooped up.
Yeah. I know I made a comment about who was that, Chris? Tyrese Halliburton or something, just kind of a throwaway comment during the broadcast, just joking really. And he got back to him and he reached out to Josiah, like, through his people, like, what's up with your dad, man? What's up with your dad? Is that soft? Would that be soft? I'm just curious. We call that soft? No, I'm just kidding. But he reached out to Josiah. I don't know. So I mean, this social media thing, man. I don't know.
It's crazy. It's crazy now because now the whole word soft is like, it's like when somebody make a rap song or somebody make a beat and they got the momentum. It's like, all right, now we got to figure out who's all soft. Now LA guys are soft, or they're like now I'm soft. So now it's just like it's this whole definition of what the word soft is. So now it's like the biggest thing in 2025.
Well. And it predates you. It predates. I mean, I'm sure it's probably predates my era. But I remember I'm writing a book about Crenshaw High School greats, and Stephen Thompson was one of the guys I talked to. And when he went from Crenshaw back to Syracuse, he told me Derek Coleman and all those East Coast, Midwest guys, they went, oh, here come this soft LA P word, come on. And so now you got to go out there and prove yourself. I mean, I think you shared some of that. I heard you talk about that too, man. I mean, just what is it about LA, man? And, what the toughest guys I know is Reggie Theus. Now you look at him, pretty boy, blah blah blah, handsome guy. You wouldn't think that, but this guy will, he'll fight anybody, on anywhere, anytime. I mean, but I don't know. Why is it about? What is it about LA guys, man, that they want to put that moniker on us so quickly?
Like,
what is it?
I think it's the palm trees, man.
Yeah.
So I think it's the palm trees and the beach. But I was just having a conversation with my boy the other day. I'm like, man, I remember being 11 years old, going to Brooklyn, playing for South Coast All-Stars with Scott McLean. And I think me, DeMar, Malik Story was on this team. And we're playing against Lance Stevenson, Irvin Walker. We was in Brooklyn. Yeah. And they was calling us soft and all this. And then at the end of the day, we won the tournament.
Yeah.
Like that, like that's to be the crazy part about it. Like we soft, but SCA, we used to go through, everything AAU and win, or I go to Oak Hill, and it's just, I just find it funny that, California is known as being soft, and then at the end, it's like we leaving with the trophy, or we the best player there.
Yeah, it's a big kind of conception of the type of dudes that are out here. I think they conflate, Mr. B. They conflate like the beaches, the
Mhm.
sun, like that lifestyle with like the hoopers. Like it's two different things.
Yeah.
Like the hoop game is a completely different thing than what these guys that live in, New York are looking at. Oh, palm trees and y'all got beaches with pretty women, but it's like, nah, dudes really be working on their game out here. Because I know when we went to the Boston Shootout in '94, we beat Team Boston in the Boston Garden to win it.
To
Like
win it. Yeah.
we smacking. We go out of town, we smacking y'all. Like
Who was
it
that? That
wasn't
was you, Toby Bailey, J.R.
Miles Simon,
Cameron Murray. Yeah. See,
Tremaine
yeah,
Folks. Yep.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
I don't even know why, but that's just the algorithm of it. Like,
Yeah,
now.
man.
So you know what I'm saying? So now everybody's trying to figure out who the softest, and then you know what's gonna come next, who the softest city or who the softest hooper.
Yeah.
Like then we got the most hoopers in the NBA.
Easily.
Who else? L.A. Are you saying the
For sure.
Southern Cal? Oh, really? Okay,
Yeah.
I knew that was true
it's
at one point. I didn't know
Killing
it was still.
Oh
that.
my, yeah.
And
Please.
see, and so that brings me to the next thing in terms of stylistically. So you think of New York guards in particular, and with the sham god, and then all the handle and this and that, and Pearl Washington and blah blah. You think of Chicago, they've got some really tough point guards, and Tim Hardaway, and then that D Rose, and
Right.
and all that. I mean, what would you say, Brandon, if you had to put a handle on kind of the style of LA basketball players? How would you define that? Is it or can you define it? Is it just so versatile that you can't define it?
I think it's just like our way of living. Like if you come to LA, right, as long as you don't bother us, we ain't gonna bother you. Like once you start chapping, once you start saying type of stuff to us, then it's on. Like we're gonna turn it up, like NWA or like broken gang violence. Like how can we like I know our we might be pretty boys with the curls and all
Yeah.
that, but it ain't got nothing to do with when it's time to get a crack kick.
Wow, man, and you just touched a nerve. And just quickly, Chris, because you just touched a nerve, because I was, I kept to myself. I was quiet. I didn't do a lot of trash talking. Like people always say, like, "Well, give me some trash talking story between you and Larry Bird." There wasn't none. I didn't talk trash to Dominique, Bernard King, none of them. I just went out and tried to serve them, and they never scored 30. Bird might have scored 30 once. Bernard maybe once in all the times we met. But it was all about, as Sidney Wicks used to always tell me, another great West Coast player from Hamilton High School, UCLA, used to say, "Let your game do the talking."
Yeah,
And that was kind of the attitude that I had. But Chris, go ahead, talk about what
No,
you gonna talk
but
about.
I was
in that
going to
context.
comment. I was going to comment on just the uniqueness stylistically of LA Hoopers. Let's take B. Jennings and let's take Baron Davis. Those are like two guys that have a style that isn't associated with being from Los Angeles. Like your game, B, you like a New York Southern, like you got like all kind of dudes. For me personally, from what I
Right.
seen, and Baron, from what I seen out of those two, like they got like it's almost as if your journey in basketball, you played against so many cats from around the country that you pick up pieces
Yeah.
from
Yep.
different tournaments. Is that true, Brandon?
Yes.
Did you?
Yes.
Who are some
Yeah.
guys? Who are some guys that you competed against coming up along the way? Like who are your counterparts
Or even
nationally?
looked up to watching, love to watch on TV.
Yes, especially here. I'm gonna go with when we talking LA. I'm talking Wesley Stokes.
Yeah.
I'm
Oh,
talking Marcus Williams.
Yeah.
I'm
Lefty.
talking Food Jetter.
Yeah.
Perdina.
Fortson that I remember.
Yeah.
And then we go to the East Coast. Dewan Wagner,
Oh, yeah.
Sebastian Telfair.
Yeah.
I went against Johnny Flynn, Corey Fisher.
Oh yeah.
Just a bunch of guys. So, and then being young, I remember Pat Barrett, rest in peace, Pat Barrett. I remember he used to have Ocean View popping and going against Jordan Farmer, Aaron Afalo, and Josh Shipp and all these guys. So it's always been a playing against older guys, or Kenny Anderson too. Oh, Kenny Anderson was my favorite growing up.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. I can see that. I mean, the quick left. And you mentioned Sebastian Telford. Just a quick synopsis. How good was he? How was he? Was he all that?
I mean, to me, through the fire, when that first dropped, I'm thinking I'm about to be a freshman in high school. So seeing that, that changed my life. That made me want to wake up every morning, go work out, and just seeing his journey was like, that was very inspiring at that time.
Through the fire.
Especially
Through the fire. I'm
yeah.
not familiar with that. What is that? That's
Documentary.
a documentary on Sebastian Telford.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So I got. See, you taught old school something that he didn't know. So I need to check that out. Then that's
Yeah. No question.
That's a tops. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, man. But so let's talk about the Milwaukee Bucks
Yeah, man. Let's see.
in this context, man. And first of all, What did you say? You said vibes don't lie. I love that saying. Vibes don't lie. What kind of vibes are you feeling, seeing from this current Bucks team right now?
Well, we started up at, we started, the way we started wasn't good. We picked it up for the in-season tournament, which to me, I think the in-season tournament, when the in-season tournament is a curse. I'm just going to say that, just throw it out there. So that shouldn't be something that people should be trying to pay for anymore. But we won it this year. We'll take it.
Yeah.
But moving forward, and then, just getting Khris Middleton back, just working through that. But the season just in general has been kind of up and down. Just with everything. So I think if we can finish strong going into the All-Star weekend and then come out of there, attacking and hopefully, get Khris Middleton back in the rhythm that we used to have him in, and then we'll see what happens.
How do you think Dame and Giannis have been working out together? Like, how do you think their pairing has been going recently?
I mean, to me, honestly, I think they're just two of the best players in the league, and they're just figuring it out.
And when you say figuring it out, like as a former league guy, like explain to our audience what that means. Like as far as getting in the weeds of it, the nuances of figuring it out.
Well, do you see a lot of pick and roll action with them?
No. I mean,
Is it increasing?
We're starting to see more. Starting to see a lot more.
Yeah. So I think that should just be like one of the biggest things. Their pick and roll option playing together. I would love to see a situation where it's Dame coming down, Giannis is at the mid at the elbow, and then you have Khris Middleton in the corner, and they're running this three guard action, and you got Dirty Bird over here on the side on the other corner, and then you got Brook in the corner over there, like something like something like that with some movement, and then with that action they'll be able to exchange each other. They can all play, I don't know.
It's
No,
actually
it's good stuff.
it's actually Derry Bird, but you might have
The Dirty Bird, baby.
Yeah, you might be on to something. He Dirty Bird.
Yeah. Look, Dirty Bird in that corner. Man, listen, with Dirty Bird out, find him. You gotta find him. He
Yes,
is
you
knocking
do.
that thief down. He is not
Yep.
playing.
Yeah. No, he's come on. I mean, just a guy. Was he drafted? I don't know. I don't think he was even drafted. Kind of a free agent out of Northern Iowa, and he's really been huge for this team. Now, you talked about Khris Middleton. There's been a lot of scuttlebutt on Twitter with Milwaukee Bucks fans, Brandon, that, and he's just, I don't know, a few games in, maybe a half a dozen, maybe a dozen or so. I don't know how long it's been since he's been back. But Doc is bringing him off the bench right now. And Doc's talking about how, he just some nights he looks great, some nights not so great. So we just want to kind of help him slow down a little bit and really kind of monitor his minutes. But there's a lot of Milwaukee fans are saying, like, well, he probably is better suited at this stage of his career at 32, 33 years old to come off the bench. I mean, what do you feel about that?
I mean, listen, Milwaukee is good enough to get to the playoffs. So that's not the problem. Like, that's not the problem. Like Dame and Giannis can get them to the playoffs. The whole thing is about being healthy, seeing if Khris Middleton is in the right vibes, in the right mood. Coming off the bench, that means you get all the shots. You can come down and, get in your rhythm. I think with him being hurt, not playing, I think this is a good situation for him right now. Like I said, we could see all the way to All-Star break and then just see what happens.
Yeah,
But right now,
psychologically, you're not worried about psychologically how, is that, as a player, do you think that's going to mess with his head? I don't know.
You got to think, to be able to, coming back from injury, I think the biggest thing is just getting back on the court. Like at the end of the day, like I said, Milwaukee, they're going to get to the playoffs regardless. Like Giannis and Dame, they're going to make sure that happens. I think now it's just Middleton finding his vibe and his rhythm. Because where does it say if he starts, in the second half of the season?
Yeah.
So like I said, right now, let's just take a time, get your shots and, let's see what happens in the second half.
And do you think that this, like the way the current rotation is going out in Milwaukee with, the top 8 or 9 guys, you think that that's going to be sustainable, like when later on down the road when they meet Boston? Like, is that going to be like, is this iteration of the Bucks able to beat the Celtics in the 7-game series? Or do guys need to play more? Or some guys need to play more? Or Knicks, but I'm thinking
Cavs. Yeah, I got you.
But you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It just depends on where we at. Depends on how healthy we are. Depends on who's making shots. Like I said, Dirty Bird gonna need that ball too. We'll have to find him.
Do you start? Would you start AJ? Bring Ajax in, his energy off
Andre
the bench.
Jackson Jr. off the bench, start AJ. Just from an offensive standpoint, you're saying, Chris?
I like Jackson Jr.
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
me too.
Why you like him, B?
Because he hostile. Like he hostile. He a dog, and like he'll run through the wall for you. I feel.
Yeah. Sets the tone. Yeah.
And I think him starting and just being that dog early, like, taking the pressure off Dame and all, and Giannis just being able to be out there, like, just causing havoc. I think he's a good, option. He just got to shoot the ball.
Yeah, and he kind of fills that profile too, Brad. We were talking about kind of the LA pretty boy guy and all that. Good looking guy, but I don't know if you saw he slapped somebody with a backhand.
He always getting in. He always beef.
But he got ejected that game.
Ajax always beef.
And I love it. I can't say it on the air.
But that's what you need in the playoffs, like those moments like that in the playoffs, or like, like when you have to meet Boston later on this year or whoever got plays, like, set the tone.
Yeah.
We need you to set the tone for us.
For sure.
And I think that's going to be the thing. Like, who's going to set the tone for the Bucks? We know Giannis is, but who's going to be that second, third guy that's going to, we know Dame's going to do what he do, but who's going to be that third guy that's going to set that tone?
And do you think? I'm thinking back to that championship season, and the key that we all know was a big key, picking up PJ Tucker, talking about a dog. He's not going to give you more than 8 to 10 points a game on a good night. But that energy that he brought, do you think the Bucks have enough of that as currently constituted? Bobby Portis. I mean, you think they got enough of that, or do they? Is that an area that if you were running the show, calling the shots for this team, that you would look to kind of beef up a little bit?
Yeah, the Nationals will be on the bench.
Wow,
that's a fact. Like
why?
That's who will be on the bench for sure. Just because at the end of the day, I know what he's going to bring every day. Like, saying that 15th man or whatever, that 12th man, whatever, him being on that bench is just the energy that we need. He's seeing stuff, he talking, he coaching too at the same time.
Facts.
So it's just like, it'd be those little things that to where, like, when you're going through the season and, you're having a rough 5 games or whatever, guess who's going to be in there still going crazy? Guess who's going to be in there, getting guys hyped? And
why is there value in that? Is there anybody you could think of that did that for you, a seldom playing guy that really gave you that, like, just every time you looked at them and then you talked to them and you saw what they were doing on the bench, that kind of gave you that energy that you maybe needed to kind of get you going a little bit?
Yeah, Kurt Thomas, my rookie year, Kyle Quinn.
Okay.
I like Kyle Quinn.
Marquise Daniels. You know what I'm saying? Like, if I was playing, he'd be like, all right, hey, yo, that young boy say he gonna bust tonight or whatever. Like, but yeah, that does, because it's just, I mean, you're already pumped to get going, but it's just that extra, like, it's all you got.
Yep.
Yeah. And look, man, we can't let you go without broaching this topic. You said that Khris Middleton was the best small forward, I think you said, in Milwaukee Bucks history. What do you base that on, Brandon?
I base that on 50 years, waiting to win a championship. I base that on his play, for what I've seen. And this is just my opinion of what I've seen. His play was huge in a bunch of games for the Bucks during that playoff run, hitting a lot of big shots, putting the team on his back. And I just think, waiting 50 years and being a part of that. And also he came here off a trade off me, and I never thought, somebody.
Wow, that's right. I forgot about that. Yeah.
That's crazy.
So I got to throw that in there. But yeah, that's why.
Yeah,
to me.
Fair.
Yeah, well, obviously I mentioned that because then I think just somebody might have sprang to my defense and all that. But let me just say this, and so Bobby Dandridge, I don't know how much you know about Bobby D, but he was, I think he led the league or something in playoff points in the 70s or something like that. But with the Bucks, he was really, really integral in terms of their championship run. Great small forward. But man, look, Khris Middleton, I have no problem with that because I'm one of his biggest fans, Brandon. When I first got to Milwaukee 10 years ago, he was in about his second or third year. Tim Gergerich, the assistant coach for Jason Kidd, I need you to talk to Khris. I need you to talk to Khris. I'm like, wow, what, Gerg? He's like, he just confidence. He just doesn't have any confidence. Talk to him and saw that he did have confidence. He was just quiet. We talk about that West Coast kind of kind of mentality, just to let your game do the talking. But man, it's just you get after experiencing what he did in that championship run when Giannis went down against the Atlanta Hawks, against I forgot who we put Miami or somebody hit a jumper. Indiana last year, he averaged 25, 26 points a game
Off one leg.
off of one leg, coming back hurt. And that's why I'm just so hopeful that that he'll get it back. And if he and my thing is this too, if he does it, he's still done enough. You know what I mean? If he's never an all-star again, never averages close to 20 again, never averages close to 90, 50, 40 or whatever it is.
Damn.
I just think he's still done enough to have established his legacy. Maybe not as the best forward in Milwaukee Bucks history. No, but he's done enough to establish his legacy, right? I mean, right? He's done enough.
No,
What do you
for
guys
sure.
think?
No, for sure. From a guy who went to Detroit, got traded, was trying to find his way, and then was able to play with Giannis, and they was able to work it out, go through all the steps that it took to keep going until you became a champion. And you got to roll with it. I mean, that's what I've seen in my ear and in my eyes, and I was just like, yo, this is this is special.
Okay, so now we're going to segue to a quick segment. We got you for a few more minutes. So we got this segment we call About That Action. Pull up a couple of clips. This is what I liked about the Buck game the last time they played. Dame Lillard going against the Orlando Magic. I mean, just run that again. I mean, Dame has been turning the ball over more than he has at any point in his career, 11.7% turnover percentage. But Brandon, he's a scorer. And so for me, it's like, man, when in doubt, just attack. And right here, what are you seeing from Dame on some of these plays that you like? Just walk us through your guard mentality.
Well, he's being aggressive for sure. And this is the Dame that's in Portland. To me. I wish he would have set that pick on that first one. But this is just Dame just creating him and being able to be Dame.
Yeah. And then he wound up pulling up for like a 35-footer in this game also. And how tough. Go ahead, Khris. You got something?
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
No, just in terms of, I'm trying to think. So Dame is 34. Did you see Dame at all in your career, Brandon, or did you guys cross paths?
Oh yeah, we crossed paths.
Okay. So I'm just trying to get the chronology straight.
What happened?
Yeah. What was that like?
I mean, it was some good bump. I mean, I've had some good games.
Yeah.
I had some good games in Portland in that Milwaukee Bucks red jersey.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So was there one thing in particular you felt like you could go to that was pretty constant whenever y'all usually against somebody you play against? There's one thing I could do. I know I'm gonna be able to get to my spot, get my shot off. But there's something you could do against him.
I mean, my step back. I don't. my step back going to the right is lethal. So can't nobody stop that. I don't care how far who you are.
Facts.
Yeah. Then on the other side, what was it about his game that maybe gave you some challenges defensively?
The fact that it was the scoring guards. It was just the fact that that was that wave of that was he was that Gilbert Arenas type guard. Like every time he got it, it's going up or he was a threat. So like when I first came into the league, me scoring 55 or was scoring like that was looked at like guys like, damn, like he's a scoring guard. Like you gotta I was going against Steve Nash, and the guard play wasn't like it is today.
Right.
So seeing Dame and doing all that, it was like, all right, like good luck tonight.
Is that something you feel like he needs to do though? Just staying aggressive and there's a couple of situations late game. Him and Giannis got miscommunicated, turnover. He and Bobby Portis. My thing, man, is like, dude, when in doubt, find your shot. You're good enough to find your shot pretty much in any situation. Either step back, use your quickness to blow by the deep 30, 35 footer. I mean, what are you seeing in him that you think he could do to help this team a little bit better?
No, I think it's just still learning. I mean, 'cause now he has an actual chance to win a championship, right? So you have to know everybody's positions. You got to know where guys are on the floor and things like that. So I think he's still just, but like I said, right now, like it's more of like just getting where you are in towards the end of the season. Getting your your seed, and then just attack the playoffs again. because I think this year with Khris Middleton coming back and now they're all healthy, I think that's the biggest thing. If they're all healthy,
Right.
listen, this thing can go any type of way. So
Yeah.
I think that's just the biggest thing. Like they're going to cruise. Probably, they're going to cruise through because they're good. Giannis and Dame, they're good enough. But I think once that playoffs come, it's going to get to another level.
Yeah, I feel that same way too, man. Well, look, man, we appreciate you coming back for the second time around with us, man. And what you got to go? Anything you want to talk about to throw out there? Tough crowd, everything. What's going on?
Nah, I'll be in an All-Star weekend for sure. You know, I'm trying to get to Milwaukee soon, so I think I'm gonna come out to Milwaukee to do a podcast out there. So might be out there in March and April. So and then for sure playoffs, we get Boston. You know what time.
You front row center, man. We appreciate you, man. Thanks a lot, Brandon Jennings, Mr. B, Gills Arena, Milwaukee Buck icon. Thank you, man. We appreciate you coming by.
All right, y'all.
All right, man. Thank you. All right, here, District. Captain of this vessel, Marques Johnson, son Khris. Want to thank Brandon Jennings, Mr. B.
Mr. B.
He's established a new nickname for AJ Green, Dirty Bird, a.k.a.
Dirty Bird.
Dirty Bird. Put Dirty Bird in that corner over there, man.
The Dirty Bird, dog.
Hey, the Dirty Bird, man. I like that. Now, we got a couple more about that action plays that we want to look at. And one that we've looked at earlier, but Khris, you got some insights into some things that you saw.
No, I just wanted to point out just the scheme the Bucks ran, the action in on this play after Andre Jackson sets the screen right here to get his man. Now, that triggers a reaction from the other two defenders that are within Dame's area. You'll see as we continue the video, Brook now is going to clear a little bit, and that's going to keep, who's that, Wendell Carter Jr. in the middle. You see how Wendell Carter Jr. kind of gets caught in no man's land?
Banchero, that's Paolo.
Excuse me, that's Paolo. But Paolo gets confused because Brook cleared spaces out to the three. See, watch it. Watch. He's going to stay there. He's like, and he doesn't know what to do. And that's a little bit of laziness, too.
Well, one more time. What's really interesting is that Paolo started on Andre Jackson Jr. He started on the non-score, so he didn't have to waste any energy playing defense. So the Bucks do a good job now. They've got, that's Tristan De Silva, switching on to Dame. And, man, Dame's got this ability, Khris. He's got these afterburners. Like when he gets a shoulder by a defender in space, he's able to accelerate enough to create even more separation, man, which is why he gets so many layups like this at the rim that don't get blocked.
No, yeah, and he does a good job of finishing with, like, keeping the ball away from the defender, too, when he gets underneath there.
Yeah, and either left hand, right hand, going to the opposite side. He's got all that. So now, look at a couple of defensive plays. I really like the Bucks' defense on Paolo Banchero. Now, watch this. This is like, now you may say, well, what's that about? Well, first of all, Dirty Bird does a great job of just fighting. Okay, he's going to dribble to his left, rip through, dribble to the left, high, rip through. Dirty Bird cuts him off. But Giannis, that help. Just being focused into that help. You know, as a shooter, Khris, when you see a big 7', 7'5" wingspan type dude like Giannis coming over, even though he's late, that impacts your shot. Am I correct?
Yeah, no, it does. I mean, it's like running interference, putting a hand up, creating obstacles so that it obstructs the shooter's vision. And that was a great job. And that's what I meant when we talk about MJ, second and third efforts defensively. Giannis could have just chilled out, hung out around the foul line, waited for the rebound to carry him off the rim. But instead, he goes and makes a play. And that's championship basketball, championship efforts.
And against the guy. Now, you don't do that against everybody. If that's Wendell Carter Jr., no, you don't do that.
He recognizes who's on who.
That's Banchero. That's Banchero with a sizable advantage in that matchup. Ryan Rollins on a ball screen. He showed against Banchero all the way to the half-court line. It wasn't a switch. This is what we're seeing now. He showed on that ball screen. He's going to get back to his own. Bobby Portis is going to wait on Banchero, and then Banchero makes a nice in-and-out move, but here's Brook once again. As you talked about, Khris, second and third efforts defensively. Brook Lopez, I think he may have gotten a piece of it. If he didn't, he definitely impacted the shot. He did block that. And so that's the kind of effort against a team you might see in the first round of the playoffs. The playoffs were today. This is the 4-5 matchup. So how important is that to establish all that right now against this team?
Well, it's a style of play. I mean, you know that Orlando is going to come out with high energy, and you have to match that energy, and that starts with extra efforts and hustle. What you're talking about on that Ryan Rollins play when he's running back, it's the sprint back. It's not a jog. It's not a loafing, allow the skip pass to get there type of play. It's shutting off avenues, shutting off lanes, and the more the Bucks pile those up on a quarter-to-quarter basis on the defensive end, that's how you hold a team like Orlando to under 100 on that game.
Yeah,
I mean, yeah, that's what happens when you're given the extra effort. The dividends show up on the defensive end.
Yeah, and again, Ryan Wallace, that was a aggressive show on that screen, and he forced Banchero all the way to the midcourt line, gave Bobby Portis a chance to kind of relocate and get back. And then this is just another great help play on the part of Brook Lopez. And this sends a message to Banchero that, despite how you did your first game back after being out 34 games, dropped 34 on the Bucks in 26 minutes down in Orlando a few days ago. This game, the Bucks played him completely differently. All this. I mean, he's got Dame matched up against Dame, but look at the convergence, man. Look at the convergence. Talk about that, man.
Well, no, I mean, what I got out of this is Brooks' ability to recover and can recover with quickness. Like he does this on multiple occasions. Right there, he's kind of a step away from Banchero. You see him like get into the restricted area really quickly. He did it on another block on the other end. I think it was during the second half, but he does it on another one. He's beating the offensive player, in this case Banchero, to the spot before he goes up. So being there before he goes up and having a 7'5" wingspan, I mean, you're in trouble. No man's land.
And just understanding that, hey, he's got Dame at a disadvantage. I'm here. No problem. I got it. And that's the beauty, just recognizing that Banchero's got almost like a dunk based on that defense.
And imagine and think about having a Lopez who on that clip, he stopped Anthony Black's penetration.
Yeah.
He shadows
right
the
there.
ball. He damn near gets a damn deflection off of the pass. And then he's quick enough with the wherewithal at 280 to go up and get that. Brook Lopez is a unicorn type of talent on the defensive end. He doesn't get enough credit for everything that he's able to do.
That's a great point. He gets a lot of criticism for being older and slower, but man,
When
that
he makes
read
these
was
plays,
quick and youthful.
No, this
Now
is
watch
it. This is it. This is what I was talking about. You see how quickly? So if we rewind this, you'll see how quickly Brook is able to get in the restricted area, almost out of the restricted area. Watch this. 1, 2. You see how those 2 big steps he takes, and then he's up. Like that's quickness. That's a sense of awareness. That's like being a veteran. Like I'm gonna get to the spot and beat you up to the summit before you're able to get there. Were you on this call?
Yeah,
You're
we
great. You said
had this game, but to your point, he was trying to cleanse himself, get out of that 2.9 area.
Right there.
Right there, he's trying to cleanse. Then he realizes that Banchero's got Taurean Prince in a bad way, and like you say, this recovery, that quick 1-2, right left. Watch this, right left, up, not happening. Catch him at the rim. You're not dunking on us. Boom.
Last point, why is that quick 1-2 so important in this scenario? Because if you don't get a good base to jump, you're going to be dunked on and posterized.
Here, District, Brandon Jennings, good stuff. Got a chance to talk about softness and some of the controversy surrounding Jayson Tatum and all that good stuff.
Yes, sir.
A lot of great insights. And I like when he talked about going to the Portland Coliseum against Dame with that Milwaukee red uniform on. And just
he had some good games.
Yeah,
Still humble. Super humble about it.
But see, that's LA though. See, we're not gonna brag particularly in situations like that. But we gonna get our just due too. You know what I mean? Like I'm gonna tell you that when I served Larry Bird, Bernard King, Dr. J, and all those guys in my era, I'm gonna tell you about it. And speaking of which, the last thing, Sean Farnham, your teammate at UCLA, one of the best college studio analysts and in-game broadcasters around, they were talking bloodlines, and he had some great things to say about you, man, in terms of being the son of an NBA guy, blah blah blah. But he talked about all these guys that had all the hoopla and all the hype that they had on that UCLA team back in those days. When they needed a bucket, they went to Stadi Loco, right?
Yeah, man. I'm just, thankful for my teammates, man. They always were passing the ball. Without them, it never would have happened.
Whatever, man.
Right.
The fake humility. Well, quick story.
No, this is a true story too. about our conversation? Because you've been talking about Sidney Wicks. I want to tell him about Washington State because we talked earlier, like that day. So it was probably like right before my shoot around. We talked about it. Go ahead.
Well, and we'll find the clip and then post that clip for you guys too. But so Khris had complained to me his senior year about never getting to take the last second shot. Or I asked him, why come you never take a last second shot? Well, Coach Harrigan or Coach Lavin, Steve Lavin is always designing a play for
Toby
or JR, Barron, blah, blah, blah. I said, man, let me tell you a story about Sidney Wicks. Sidney Wicks, when he was at UCLA, they played against Oregon, I believe, maybe Oregon State. I forget which one, but they're playing in Poly Pavilion, one of the Oregon schools. And it's a tie ball game. He's got the ball near the top of the key. He starts dribbling. The guard comes over to get the ball from him, Henry Bibby. He waves him off. Another guard comes over, Kenny Booker. He waves him off. Sidney waits until 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, pull up 17-foot jumper at the right elbow. Swish, game. He wins the game. So I told Khris that story. So I'm working with the Sonics at this point. I'm on the road. UCLA's playing Washington State. And so I hurry back to my hotel, the Residence Inn on Lake Union. I run up to my room. The game's about to end. It's I'm rushing. I can't find it on my car radio. I turn on the radio in the room. It's in Washington State, Seattle. So I figured there's some kind of station that might carry it. So I find the game, and it's like 10, 15 seconds left. And the great Chris Roberts, my former broadcast partner, is on the call, and he's talking about how the game is tied, I believe. And he's talking how the game is tied. It's 12 seconds left. Chris Johnson has the ball right side, about 20 feet away from the basket. Baron Davis comes over. Chris waves him off. Toby Bailey comes over. Chris waves him off. Chris is going to take the shot. 3, 2, 1. Chris gives a little shake, a little Kobe kind of shake, pulls up for, was that a three-pointer? It was a
deep three,
tie game, deep three, bottom. And man, just went, and I'm dancing around the room because he had done that exact same thing that I had told him about earlier that day that Sidney Wicks had done in the game. He pulled it off, and I'll never forget this when Steve Lavin was asked about you taking that shot and waving off Barron, waving off JR, waving off Toby. He's like, a 3-pointer. Game tied, exactly what we were looking for. Kind of sarcastic, but I'm like, hey, whatever, man.
Last thing on that to put a capper, I saw Tim Gergovich, who we've been talking about on this podcast, like after that season doing like a pre-draft workout I had, and he talked about that shot, about how he was in the stands, Dad, watching that game. He saw me do that. And he was like, it was one of them. He was like, man, that was some impressive stuff. Yeah, like he couldn't believe it. Like, yeah, but
blood lives, baby, blood lives, passing it on down, man. And just to hear that, to just be in a position where I could hear those final 12 seconds live from Chris Roberts, and I'm like, oh boy, he's gonna do the Sidney Wicks. He's gonna do the Sidney Wicks. And
what a life
shot, man. I was around that room. Yeah.
What a life. What a life.
Hey, Johnson. I was dancing, man. I was dancing, going crazy. Anyway, all right, man. It's enough of us here, District. Fantastic, boys. What a show. We've always got some. We're always entertaining, if nothing else. And we thank you all for joining us. And check us out next week on the Here District.
Peace.
This has been a Bucks Plus audio production.